Hello. Thank you. Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming. Excited? Good, because we are. Oh, yeah. This is the live XFM podcast, Josh Widdicombe show, 4 nights only, ever. Unless it goes well. So the way it's going to work, what it is, it's always a gamble to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to say, have you seen the show? And you're going to cheer even if you haven't, because we're recording this. Have you seen the... Oh, I fucked up as well. It's a radio show. No one's seen it. Have you heard the show before? Yes. Okay, now honestly, have you heard the show before? Yes. That was better than I thought. Delighted with that. If you haven't heard the show, the way it is going to work tonight is this is an hour and a half of hijinks. That's what it is. It's recorded. There's going to be swearing. We don't care. It's only going out as a podcast. They didn't want to put it on the real radio. You've all given in your sheets. If you had anything, that's the equivalent of the texts or tweets we get. We have all the regulars. We have James Acaster, Nish, Kumar, Matthew Crosby, producer Neil. We have a special guest, Romesh, Ranganathan. We also have some live art. It's going to be fucking brilliant. Because what podcasts need is live art. So, without what they would describe as much further ado, are we ready to meet the show regulars? I was going to bring them out all together. I'll bring them out one at a time as they take their seats. Please, round of applause first for Mr. Nish Kumar. Wherever you want. Mr. Matthew Crosby. Mr. James Acaster. We'll come to that. And finally, for the first time ever seen with human eyes, please welcome producer Neil. Hello. Left to right, how are we, Matthew?
Very well, cheers.
Cheers. Do you want... Maybe, Matthew.
This isn't the best... Can I take it out?
The mic?
Mic, yeah. All right. Yeah, you don't get that on the breakfast show, do you? Sausage with your breakfast.
Matthew, I'm going to take this out as well, actually. The mic.
Yeah, we should be clarifying for the at-home listeners what we're doing.
Yeah.
We didn't all come on and get our wangers out.
No, that was 20 minutes in.
We didn't all get them out.
We didn't all get them out, no.
Right, Matthew, you're new to Edinburgh today.
No. Well, I've arrived today, but I'm not. Yeah, I've been to Edinburgh
you've
before.
been to Edinburgh before. I mean, we've all seen, your Foster's defeats.
Enjoying this Stella today, I really am.
By the way, we didn't choose Stella. Amy, who was organising this, we said, can you get some beers? And she got us Stella. So it's not our fault if this goes tits up.
If it gets a bit punchy.
You did get a review this week, Matthew.
I did get a review this week.
In London?
Yeah. Even the reviewers have come to London. Well, Josh, you were there.
I was there.
I'll tell you the first part of the story, because obviously Josh and I, not doing Edinburgh shows this year, have got a lot of time on our hands. So we were drinking in the street. No, we just finished work, and we were drinking in a pub in London, and a lovely couple came up to Josh and said, they were from Norway. They said, "Oh, we love you, Josh. You're fantastic. We've seen you on the live at the Apollo in Norway. We love it. Do you mind if we have a photo? Will you take it?" Pointing at me, which is always my favourite part of any day, taking photos of Josh's fans. And I mean, fair enough. That's going to happen. But then, lo and behold, someone recognised me. Josh, do you want to take over?
I think you should...
Well, let's just say, he was a man who was no stranger to drinking on the street.
or indeed sleeping on it.
Or indeed sleeping on it.
He had this sleeping bag over his shoulder to prove it.
Yes.
And missing teeth.
He had a few missing teeth. And he had a 10 pence and a 1 pence in his hand. And he came over and he said, "Are you on 10 Cats?" I said, I have been sometimes, yeah. Thanks for watching. Through a shop window, presumably. And And then I thought, always nice to meet a fan, wherever they come from, whatever walk of life. In my case, beggars can't be choosers. But then what I was expecting, obviously I wasn't expecting to whip out a camera phone, but what I wasn't expecting was his next... He basically said, you need to prepare more. Which, coming from a man who is carrying his house on his back, is pretty fucking rich, no pun intended. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But it was the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
Hello, Nish.
Joshua?
Good. And James?
Wow.
I realised we're running a tight ship here, and Matthew's anecdote was 2 minutes longer than I'd imagined. James, happy with your seat?
Yeah, really happy, mate. Cheers for that. Could have predicted that. The perpetrator of the original cabbaging is also in Edinburgh at the minute, and that's what scares me. David Trent, I'm sharing a flat with David Trent for the month. For those of you who don't know about the cabbaging, it's way too long to go into now. But his whole family came round today, and I have never been more tense. I was in the living room with his son walking around looking at me like a jackal. I was like, there's a cabbage coming from somewhere, and I know it. I didn't get cabbage today. It's going to happen.
No, good. Well, I'm glad you've got one anyway.
I've been cabbage now.
Now, we can't do this without one of James Acaster's scrapes. James Acaster, do you have a scrape for us?
Right.
Now, before we start, James, I think we're going to get this illustrated tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So, is Henry Paker here? Hey! Henry Paker!
Hi, Packer.
If you like, go to your illustration board. Now,
Oh, thanks, man.
a sprite.
Well, I was going to make a shandy, but that's not going to happen.
So, Henry, James is going to tell his story. Do you want to turn the board away from the audience so you can reveal it at the end? Henry's a very good artist as well as a stand-up comedian, aren't you? We haven't just got you up here to... Well, you'll be the judge of that.
The only picture I've seen of Henry's is a picture he did of Ellis James having sex with someone.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It is fucking brilliant.
Very good.
Did you draw it live?
Picture.
Did you draw it live? So, James, your scrape.
Right. This is...
Now, these are ones you can't do on the radio, or?
Yeah, it's very difficult, because you're very keen on me telling rude scrapes here that I can't tell on the radio. But I'm very shy. So I can either tell story of a horrendous gig or a lady.
Lady.
Also, the phrase rude scrapes sounds phenomenal with your voice.
Yeah, rude scrapes. Okay. I did a gig in Bath.
Oh, I love this.
And unusually, it went very well. Very good gig. And I came off, and I was. Do you know this story? So I was watching the rest of the gig from the back of the room, keeping myself to myself. And there was a hen night in. And normally hen nights don't pay any attention to me. But one of the hens broke away from the group and came over to me and said, "You were very funny." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." I was chatting to her. She's a lovely person. And at the end of the night, also, it should be pointed out that I was staying in a flat next door to the venue. This is very clever. And after the gig turns into a disco. Or, as grown-ups would call it, a nightclub.
Was there squash?
There was squash. And all the boys were sitting on the chairs watching the girls dancing.
So you thought the gig had gone so well you'd stay for the disco?
Yeah, well, I was only staying next door anyway, and she was like, "Stay, you should stay." I was like, "Okay, I'll have a dance." And
I mean,
I was
everyone is
dancing.
picturing that in their heads currently.
dancing very nicely. And she said, my friend, the hen, is trying to get kisses from every man. So, like a man, to work her way through the alphabet. She hasn't got J yet. Your name's James.
But that's the easiest letter to get, isn't it? Men's names.
Mate,
I was outside going, for fuck's sake!
I was inside telling everyone my name was Jish Kumar.
she said, do you want to go and kiss my friend? Because your name begins with J. And I said, I don't know. And she went, well, you can practice on me if you like.
Oh!
I said, I don't need practice. And I went and kissed her mate. I've done it before. It got to the end of the night, and she said, oh, I'm going to go home. I said, I live in Chippenham, I'm going home. I said, oh, I kind of looked a bit disappointed, maybe. I was like, oh, okay. And she went, well, why? Where are you going? I was like, oh, I'm just staying next door. And she went, you think I'm that kind of person, do you? I'm just going to come next door with you. I said, heavens no. No. Do you know what? So I even implied it. I'm going to go next door on my own. I'll give you my number. We can meet up another time. Got into the flat. I was in the flat for about 5 minutes before I got a text from her that said, where are you? I may have changed my mind. I said, no, I'm in the flat. So I came out into the street. She was there. She said, my friends have gone home to Chippenham. I decided to stay here. I was like, great, we'll have a lovely time. So...
Did you actually say
we'll have a lovely time? What were your plans?
Hashtag sex.
Once you've said heavens no, you can pretty much say anything.
So, what's going on here?
Sorry, I was asking for another beer because I was enjoying the story so much.
That's fine. So, she walks...
Sorry, how long is this fucking story, Josh?
Josh goes.
4-pack out.
So she comes into the flat.
Hello? Yep.
And
so you told her she was going to have a lovely time.
Said you want to have a lovely time.
Were you worried she was a little keen?
No, I thought.
If anything, that was playing into your hands.
I was absolutely
Classic Acaster.
Absolutely delighted. Couldn't believe it was happening, Josh.
What's the flat like? You presumably know this place.
It's the Bath Comedian.
Yeah, Bath Comedian flat.
The flat is... it's like one room that's been made into a 6-bedroom flat, isn't it? And it has either no central heating or the heating's always on at max.
Bingo.
There we go.
Heating on max. Better take our clothes off.
Yeah. So we can have a lovely time.
Heavens, yes.
Now, she transformed
my life
into a
my
man.
world.
into a man.
I'd
say Bath, it was Thailand.
So she had been a lovely lady in the disco.
How old was she?
Probably my age.
Oh, okay.
My age. And as soon as we walked into the flat, I shut the door and she went, right, go out and get me a Chinese takeaway.
This is like a scene from a Michael Haneke version of Transformers. It's just called Emotional Transformers, where somebody comes in and goes, I'm having a great time, and then they immediately go, I want to kill you.
Yeah.
So you said no?
Well, I said, if you
Were you drunk?
No.
To be fair, you had promised her a lovely time, man.
I had promised her a lovely time.
I love the
Did
fact
that lovely time come with free prawn crackers?
Yeah.
But the fact she said, I'm not that kind of girl, and she's changed her mind, but then thinks, hang on, if I'm not that kind of girl, I'd probably have to have a meal first.
Yeah.
I mean, the classy way to do this is to get a takeaway.
Yeah. Sent him out for a Chinese takeaway. So she said, go and get me. It wasn't like, let's order a Chinese takeaway. It was like, go and get me a Chinese takeaway. And I said, we can, if you like, we can go out and we can like eat together. We can find a place and we can have a meal. And she went, no. Go out and get me a Chinese takeaway.
So, of course, at this point, you thought, this girl's not for me.
I thought, she is trying to rob the flat. She's heard about the Bath Comedia flat and its bounty. And she wants to get me out the flat, and then when I come back, it'll be empty. Right, so I was like, we can go out and get a meal if you like. She went, no, you go and order me one. I was like, I don't feel like I should go out and just like get you some food. We can both go and get some. We can order some. And she says, no, you go out and get me someone. Nothing. I said, I hope I can do that. She was just like, well, at least make me a cup of tea. I said, okay, I'll do that.
She seems reasonable though. She's gone from Chinese takeaway straight to tea, like without any intermediary. Do you know what I mean?
Knows how to. Yeah.
It's good. She's a nice girl.
I'm in the kitchen and making us cups of tea.
She with you?
No, she's in the living room. I've left on her own.
Filling her pockets.
Yeah. Case in the joint.
Pass the TV out to the hen do.
You
haven't kissed anything beginning with T yet. So, making the teas, I come back into the living room, and she has found and set up Twister. By herself.
Number one thing that determines that that's a psychopath, mate.
Yeah.
You need to get out of there.
So I was had the teas, and she went, we're playing this. Very angrily, she said that. We're playing this. And I went, are you sure? She went, it's sexy.
It is wipe clean.
Yeah. So we started playing Twister, but there's two of us. And two-player Twister, I don't know if you've ever played two-player Twister, it lasts a long time. It's quite difficult. We were nowhere near each other for the whole game. And it only landed on feet for the whole thing. So we were just walking around a Twister map.
Like a really slow version of those dance machines.
Yeah. Just nowhere near each other, just looking at each other from across the Twister mat, occasionally having a drink of tea because we could.
Just her moaning every now and again about wanting a spring roll. Just
Awkward. She's getting really angry as well that the Twister game isn't as sexy as she thought it was going to be. So she's very angry about it. And she said, and she just gave up. She said, this is stupid. This is a stupid game.
Did you worry at this point that you picked a bad one?
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah. I was concerned.
Yeah.
We then had an argument. We had an argument about. She said, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And I went, yeah, I'm familiar with that. And she went, no, but literally though. I said, well, not literally. And she went, yes, literally. That's what I believe. I said, well, I don't know. She said, you don't believe that? I went, no. She said, what do you believe then? I said, oh, yeah, from Earth.
Did you actually say from Earth?
From Earth. So,
I have a theory that we're all from Earth. And that's just my belief. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
You're such a stick in the mud, Acaster.
we're all from Earth. We all came from Earth.
Sounds like the name of a biology textbook. Men are from Earth, women are from Earth.
Earth also.
So, what?
The same part of Earth.
How long did it argue? So she argued back?
She argued back. At one point she said, well, what about the creation story in the Bible? And I said, I don't personally believe that. And she went, I do. I went, you said you believe we're from different planets. And she went, I'm allowed to contradict myself. I was like, oh, I'm not winning this argument. There's no way I'm winning this. And then at the end of the argument,
do you think she was trying to piss you off, or do you think she did believe?
I haven't got a clue. I didn't know what was happening at that point.
I
just played a game of Twister which ended in a draw, which I've never done before.
Was she quite literally on red?
Yeah. She was. I was defending the fact that we're from Earth, so I didn't know what's happening. And
can I just say on behalf of all of us, thank you
for
defending that position.
Finally, someone says it. But she ended the argument by going, "Oh, just shut up and run me a bath." So,
of noodles.
Yeah. I ran her.
I mean a soup.
I ran her a bath.
Did you run the bath?
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
I ran her a bubble
with
bath.
you,
It was a
man?
bubble bath. She was in Bath. We were in Bath. But she
That doesn't mean there's no law in bars that says if somebody asks for a bath, you have to give it to them.
she had not gone back to Chippenham. She was stranded. It was my responsibility.
Acaster,
What time of night was this?
This is probably, at this point, probably about 1 in the morning.
Mate, you should have booked her a flight back to fucking Venus. Like,
Were there other comedians staying over watching
it
this
was
happen?
just me. I had the flat to myself. That's why I was so confident early doors. So I ran her a bath, a bubble bath, and she had the bubble bath. And I kind of sat upstairs in the bedroom.
Oh, so you weren't you weren't allowed to be in the room when she had a bath?
No way. It's in the
So
bedroom.
you became like her carer,
Yeah. I'm looking after.
making her cups of tea,
Yeah.
walking her around the room, and then running her a bath.
Yes.
wash me, James, wash me.
Yes, yes. No one's from Earth. Now just drink your tea, have your bath.
Yeah.
We'll have a trip to Venus tomorrow if you want.
I was sitting in the bedroom reflecting on the evening so far.
And what were your reflections?
I was thinking, well, I'm not sure how this has happened, but in a typical male way, I was going, there is still a chance you might... This isn't over yet.
And at absolute worst, I'm getting 10 minutes of material out of this.
One day, Josh might get himself a radio show. That's what I was thinking. And then she came upstairs in a towel, and we kissed for a while. And then...
So,
Whoa.
how did you
And,
kind of segue?
Whoa.
Call her carer, for God's sake.
How did you don't just kiss after all that. There must have been some bartering or some kind of bullshit thing you had to agree to.
No. She, it was different again. She just came in. It was like she was just like, "Yep, totally, you passed the test."
Was it kissing or did she head straight for Venus?
Yeah. Said, I asked
Talking
you to
about
buy me
his
a
knob.
Chinese meal. You didn't do it. Pass. I asked for teas. You made them. Pass. We played Twister. Draw. Perfect.
It's like the
We
weirdest game of nightmare ever.
I did a stupid argument. You stood your ground. I asked you to run me a bath. You did. Now you get kisses.
I feel sorry for the poor bastard that she met last time. He forked out for a Chinese takeaway and got fuck all.
Nothing.
Failed
at
that
the
test at
first
the first hurdle, yeah.
Well, he ran into the first hurdle.
Okay.
So, after the kissing, okay. It's where I get uncomfortable. It's basically brought up the question of, do you have a
Penis.
penis to use? Do you have a condom?
Was she saying that you should be safe when having a lovely
Yes.
time?
If we have a lovely time, let's do it in the most loveliest way possible. Be safe about it. I didn't have any of that stuff because I am not used to being in these situations. And
Did you
she
say
said-
heavens no?
I said, heavens no, I do not have that. So she said, I saw a 24-hour shop opposite the flat. You can go there and get one now and come
She
back.
saw a DVD player she was going to steal. That's what she said.
24-hour shop. It's right next to Mr. Hose.
Yeah.
Who is not a hose merchant.
So she sent me out to buy them to the shop. I went to the shop and the shop was closed. It was not open at all. But I was like, I can't just go back because this very demanding woman. And I looked down the street and I saw a nightclub that was open. So I thought, I'm going to go to the nightclub. And there'll be toilets there that have them in. I'll go there. So I went to the nightclub. It's a very popular nightclub. I had to queue up for 20 minutes. Only to be turned away at the door. Because they were closing. They were closing now, mate. Forget it. Right, you're not getting in. I saw another nightclub on the horizon. I thought, I'm going to walk there. So I walked there, queued up for 10 minutes. Again, I was turned away and I didn't get in. I was walking away from the nightclub. I've just got to go back to the flat now. As I was walking away, there's a guy walking next to me. Such was my desperation, I turned to the man.
Oh, God.
I said, hello.
Oh, no.
I don't suppose you happen to have any condoms on you? And he went, yeah, I've got a whole packet, I haven't used them, and he just gave them to me.
And James and I have been friends ever since.
I can't believe it. So I was like, great, I'm going to go home now. And then I turned to go home, and I realised I had walked so far from the flat, I didn't know where I was. I'd walked about half an hour away from the flat in different directions, going to different nightclubs, trying to score condoms, and gotten them from a stranger, and now I had no idea. I didn't know where. So I started just walking in the general direction, thinking maybe this is it. I got more lost. I got more. By this point, by the way, I've been away from the flat for nearly an hour. At one point, I'm walking down a street, and then I hear like a rushing of feet, and then about 14 teenagers jump out of an alleyway, surround me in a circle. I'm in the middle, I'm looking at them, and they're all looking I mean, what's going to happen? And then they all start jumping up and down, clapping their hands, and singing Ollie Bongo, Ollie Ollie Bongo. Over and over again, it's going, Ollie Bongo, Ollie Ollie Bongo, Ollie Bongo, Ollie Ollie Bongo, Ollie Bongo. And I'm there, oh, this is not what I thought I'd be doing, but not now. Singing Ollie Bongo at me. And then they run away giggling. I got a cab back to the flat. I got to the flat. I went in, I went up to the bedroom, and she's there in bed. I said, I'm back. Got 'em. And she went, too bad I'm not in the mood anymore.
Oh!
And we went to sleep. And then an hour later, I was woken up by her leaving to get the train home. I said, oh, are you going? And she went, this is a really sad end to the story, by the way. She just went, oh, don't be such a baby. And that was it. That was the end of the night. Literally the end of my evening. And I've still got that box of condoms to this day. That was it.
James Acaster, ladies and gentlemen. To end the show, Henry, do you have do you have the drawings?
Yes, I've got some drawings.
Now, we're going to give these drawings, Acaster and Henry will sign them for what they're worth. £100 million. I tried to backtrack that because I thought I'd been mean-spirited and went too far the other way.
What are we raising money for?
And give them, no, we'll just give them to the person with the best story.
So I'll need to talk you through it.
Yeah.
Do you want to put it in
like
front of me here
Yeah.
so everyone can see it?
We're going to be a lot slicker tomorrow night.
Nah.
Can I walk round so I can see
Yeah,
it?
like all the best drawings, I will need to explain this. This. So to start with, we've got. So we're in Bath. So that is. I don't know if you've ever been to Bath. That is a seagull shitting on a beautiful Georgian building. We've got James. I've put him in the J T-shirt. So assuming that you'd gone out that night thinking that your best chance of pulling was if some people were playing the alphabet kissing game.
And every night since.
We've got, so this is, then down here it becomes the flat. So we've got the central heating is on high, which is denoted by the heat lines. That's quite, it's quite an advanced technique, but so heat lines also, and also to back that up, I've also got a rat drinking a cocktail. And wearing shades, just sort of emphasise that. We've got the sort of twister sort of set at the bottom. This is you probably don't need this explaining, but these are 3 pork balls, and that is a beaker of sweet and sour sauce on its side. That, of course, that's a discarded sesame seed prawn toast.
Prawn toast, my favourite.
Oh, really? So that wouldn't have been discarded, sorry. It's not 100% accurate. That's a disco ball. Now, because I'd started early with your lovely hair, that was very lovely to draw. It's very much like drawing the sea. Your hair, so I enjoyed that. So I didn't have much space for the lady. That's the woman. She had to just squeeze in there, and I've given her antennae because she's from Venus. Now, I didn't know how the story was going to end at this point, so I just had to... I speculated here. This is her. This is her returning to her home planet with James Acaster's penis in a special canister. And obviously, these are the hungry multitudes
May I,
who she's saved.
may I say thank you for the size of that canister?
Yeah. And then this was interrupted halfway through. That was you holding the condoms and some teenagers.
That is
dancing.
very accurate, that one.
Yeah.
The Ollie Bongo dance.
Quite expressionist, they're the buildings. And that means it's night. So,
I think that sums it up.
That is
Thank
it.
you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, thank you.
Henry Paker. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks to all the panel. Round of applause for all the panel. Cheers. Good night.